Good evening, everybody. I don't have any statements, so I'll just wait for your great questions.
I'm not sure what we can ask, but I'll try this.
Well, you
Have
can
you,
ask anything. It's just what I can answer.
have you had anybody on the staff research whether you would be the first general manager in NBA history to possibly go his first two drafts without a pick?
Let me ask you a question. Have you done the research? Okay. No, no one's done the research. But in all honesty, we prepare like we have a pick in both the first and second round because you never know what happens. We prepared last year the same way. So I would say, though, we're more prepared this year because I think I started like a week before the draft last year. Or I'm more prepared.
Well, let me try this one, Nico. Are you guys trying to get into the draft, either the first or the second round?
We're not. We're open to anything. I mean, we're not calling people trying to trade our players to get into the draft, but you never know what comes up.
Nico, what's your overall assessment of the talents in this NBA draft overall?
I think it's talented. I do think that there's probably a lump of 20 guys that could go mid first to early second, and it's tough to figure out who is which teams are gonna like which guys. But I do think it's a talented, more deep than top end.
Nico, historically over the last 20 years, no team from the organization from the Western Conference has gotten less out of the draft overall than the Mavericks have. That's kind of been purposeful on their part for the most part. I wanted to ask you, would you like to buck that trend? Would you like to see in the future the Mavericks get more production? Do you think that it's more important than perhaps it was thought of in the past?
Tough for me to answer the past, but I mean, our best player, Luka, was drafted by the Mavs, so feels like they've done a decent job. I'm sure glad he's on our team.
Nico, as you think about, as you're going into not only tonight but the next few days, free agency, it seems like one of the best things this team has going for it right now is continuity going into a second season under Jason. Do you have to be cognizant about not changing too much? Is that part of your thinking?
Yeah, I think I think that's important. You know, the things I talk about, I talked to you guys several times about it, is our team and the connectedness that we had. And, you know, you see how we kind of started off slow last year. So I think the beauty of us, you know, and I said we'll be better at the start of the season than we were last year. Well, part of that's having continuity. So it's extremely important.
A non-draft related question, but when you see Luka posting all these workout videos, does it make you really excited?
It does, and it makes me laugh too. But no, it does. It definitely makes me excited to know that he's in the gym, working out, preparing for next year, especially so soon after the season.
Obviously, a lot was made last season about him maybe not being in the best shape to start the season. Do you think that's a trend we won't see this year?
I'm hopeful. No, I would bet on Luka. I would bet that he'll come in a lot better shape than last year.
You mentioned you feel more prepared because you had more time to prepare. How has this offseason, it's been about a month since we talked to you at the end of the season, how has this offseason been different going into the draft versus a year ago?
Well, it's the preparation just didn't start when we lost. You know, we've been preparing from a team. We have a bunch of scouts, really good scouts, and so we've been preparing, watching film. Finley and I are always watching film on game days, talking about the 3 or 4 players we're going to watch film on, and then, you know, after that we'll sit there and talk about the guys we like, didn't like. So the preparation's been all year long. It's just kind of culminated, and it's more heightened once the season's over with because that's your focus.
Are there 1 or 2 or 5 players perhaps in this draft that you guys and your team have targeted and say, well, if this guy slides like, you know, the rumors might have it, we got to pounce on that at X number? And do you feel comfortable that you could make that happen?
Yeah, I mean, we know the guys in the draft, so if something unusual came up, we would be ready to pounce on it, as you say. But you don't predict. If a guy is predicted to slide, then it's not a slide. You know what I mean? A slide is when a guy is predicted to go high, and for some reason he goes really low. But if you think a guy's going to slide, then it's not a slide.
Nico, I don't know how many people had you guys going to the Western Conference Finals going into last season. What do you have to do to top that this season?
I mean, there's a lot of things that have to happen. One, we got to stay healthy. We got to make sure that we keep the same connectedness that we had last year. But I mean, there's no guarantee, even with staying healthy and playing good basketball, that you're gonna go to the Western Conference Finals and, as you say, top it. Like, there's no guarantee. It takes a lot of luck. It takes a lot of luck, good matchups, good fortune. We can have a better team on paper next year than we had starting last year, and it's still no guarantee. The West is tough. Teams are going to come back. The Clippers are going to come back better than they were. Other teams are going to come back better. So I don't think there's a guarantee. Our goal is to come back better and give ourselves an opportunity to do what we did, but there's no guarantee.
Nico, given where you guys are with the salary cap and roster spots, how does that kind of shape how you enter this player acquisition period of drafting, trades, free agency, whatever comes?
I mean, we take it all into consideration. It's we have so many if-then scenarios, so we take it all. We take it all into consideration. It's all on our board.
This time last year, of course, you were getting a lot of calls, congratulations and all that, but still preparing for the draft. What is the difference in the types of conversations you're having now, feedback, whether it's from other teams and agents, and now you're sitting here as a Western Conference finalist? Well, no teams are congratulating me, that's for sure. Nobody wants to help us out, trust me. The conversations are different. I mean, I know a little bit more about how the league works and how the acquisitions work. So different type of conversations.
What would be a scenario where you could see yourself trading into the second round? Because you say you don't want to trade your players. So what would that entail if you guys do decide to do that?
Well, one, there'd have to be a player that we really like that happens to be available, and I don't know, you could, just for an example, you could trade a future second for a second this year. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it. You could trade cash.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you, Nico.
Thank you. See you guys in about 6 hours. How you doing? Good to see you.